you getting on, folks? Welcome back to the Irish Racing Hour. I'm your host, Shane Rooney, also known as the Peaky Blogger. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Dean Hegarty and Ryan Sharkey from Racing Records. And we're joined by another fellow Galwegian, Rossa. Ryan. Welcome on board.
How's things?
I suppose, Rossa, just for those who mightn't know the name, I'd say it's hard not to know the name by now, but just give a quick introduction about like your life in the saddle and where you came from.
Originally brought up. I'm from Currafin, in County Galway. My uncle and cousin are both flat jockey. One's a jump jockey, one's a flat jockey. My father trains the odd few on the track at the minute, so
yeah,
been brought up in it really.
Yeah, that's basically it. I suppose, Rossa, like you've ridden, you could say nearly all over the world now at this stage, like between your time in Ireland and England, and you had a couple of spins over in Australia as well, and just recently enough there you actually got booked to ride out in the Kentucky Derby meeting. Like what sort of, I suppose, similarities are there between the four countries basically?
Well, Ireland, England are basically the same. Probably England, they probably go a bit harder early.
Yeah.
And make it a true test. Well, at the mediocre level, anyways, when the Irish horses come over, in them handicaps, when we go over there, and then in Australia, it took me a good few rides to adapt to Australia. Say it took me about 10, 12 rides to adapt to Australia. But when I went to America, then it was like riding in Australia all over again. So, in one sense, it was great to be not fired in the deep end in America when you actually knew how to ride the tracks like Australia.
Yeah, and what way sort of like, was it more stamina based, or was it, I suppose, a quicker sprint?
No, yeah, it's they go hard to the bend, you could say, and then they steady it up and then turn the race. In the middle part of the race in Australia and America, they steady it up and then they sprint up the home straight. And it's all, it's like having, you could say your all weather tracks in England on the grass. You turn in and you get your horse out onto its other leg and get it to quicken like he's a breeze up horse. Hence why breeze ups don't really work over in Australia as much, because they're basically all trained that way anyways. Where over here they're very effective in that sharp turn of foot, and playing a horse late suits a breeze up horse.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose it just goes without saying, like, you moved over to England, say from Ireland there. I think was it 2015 or 2016, was it?
Yeah, it was actually 4 years ago yesterday, 2017.
2017.
I moved. Yeah, I left school and moved on.
Yeah,
I haven't looked back since, thank God.
Yeah, definitely. And like, was it much of an adaptation there, say, over in England? I know the stories you'd hear from, I suppose, jockeys like Davy Russell and all that started off similar enough like yourself, and say going from Ireland to England, like it was a big culture shock. Like, was it similar enough situation for you, or was it?
Yeah, I think so. I think, look, I was really young. I was only 16, so I got away with things because I was young, and I had to adapt. It was hard. It was easy and hard in one sense because where we are based in Galway, whenever I want to go riding out for a trainer, I used to have to go for like a week or 2 or 3 weeks, because it was just too far from my mother and father that were both working. So the getting homesick and that didn't occur. I think adapting to the way things happen out here was a big thing. Not so much in the racing yard, because I did a lot when I was growing up. I did a lot of I was down a lot and then the bulgers. and they take incredible care of their horses. So it was kind of, I learned all the ropes down there and in the looking after and well-being of ours. So it was very easy to adapt that way. It was just adapting really to how people get on with their life out here.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose, say, for those who are looking in that wouldn't work in the industry or know what goes on behind the scenes, just describe basically a day in the life of Rossa Ryan and like what your day looks like. I know you're fairly busy around this time of year, but um, just I suppose people might realize just how much work goes in.
Yeah, look, we have the evening meetings. The evening meetings are really becoming the norm now on the all weather because of they're really out here. They're looking to put jump racing in the afternoon for the daylight. So we'd be racing on the all weather in the evening 4 or 5 times a week. So right now, as we stand, I'd probably go in, ride out um I'd ride out 2 or 3 lots. At the minute, I'm just in Hannons until March, when then I'll have to go out to where all the retained horses are, and ride out, and then go to Oaksey House, which is over in Lambourne. It's a gym that we can use at the minute while COVID's on.
Yeah,
And virtually a personal trainer in there. Use them. It might be only one time one week, and then it could be 4 or 5 times the next week. Then home from there, and I straight into the bath then for a sweat, and then off racing, and then
yeah,
then late finish.
yeah. That's basically it. And just say, looking forward, Rossa, is there a particular race in mind that you'd absolutely love to win as like a dream race, basically, or a dream win? Um,
Ah, yeah. I mean, any flat jockey that's riding at the minute, if they didn't want to win the Derby, I'd say they're mental. Any flat jockey that wouldn't want to win the Derby, I think that is the race of all races. You know, to have a Royal Ascot winner last year on a horse, and then have the possibility at uh, at at just turned 20 to ride him in the Derby and then get taken away from it was, yeah, it was a hard pill to take. But I suppose, as my agent said, it is great to be in that position. Um, did not even have the chance at all. So hopefully there's a horse on the cards this year that might fulfill what we think could possibly be him.
yeah, well, sure, definitely. Like the fact that you've ridden in the likes of the Kentucky Derby meeting and everything else like that now as well. It obviously stands to you for, say, the future and what could lie for Rossa Ryan. But that's basically all I have anyway, Rossa. Lads, do you want to take over or?
Yeah. Ross, I just a few questions really for me. You touched on your Royal Ascot winner there, Highland Chief. What was it like for you personally riding the winner at Royal Ascot?
It was brilliant. I was pretty gobsmacked, really. I've never been there. That was my first time, like, in 4 years to ride there. I was never there as an apprentice. So having no crowd just felt like a normal day. Um, but even just the buzz of being an Ascot for any lad is incredible. When you when you go out under that tunnel, there's just you just set yourself a buzz, really.
Mm.
Um, I really didn't believe it was going to happen. It was kind of, the horse was going well at home. 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, turned the corner. And basically, I was out to ride him to run well. I was out to ride him to run well to go forward for the foreseeable future, because just um, he was just struggling to settle a small bit, and I just thought we have to ride a race today, and it's not all about today. And luckily, he got the job done. Still doing it.
Yep. Another like moving to England. Is it a bit more of a shock, Rossa, traveling the length and breadth of England for rides? I know you've only got one ride tomorrow, I think, and one ride on Sunday. One's in Newcastle, is the other in Lingfield, I think, or down the bottom
Yeah,
end of the country.
yeah, it's hard going. I mean, it's what, 5 hours from my house to Newcastle tomorrow. It's hard going, but in saying that, if you don't do it, someone else will do it, and they'll travel further.
Yeah.
So I suppose, yeah, in one sense, there comes a time and a place when you can say no. In other senses, I think I remember getting into a sauna for the first time, and Dougie Costello was in there, and I was like, how do you do it every day? And it's like, just do it. Stop thinking about it. Just do it. Just get in the car and go. So yeah, I think the less you think about it and just get on with it, it's grand.
Yeah. And as Shane touched on there too, like you've travelled, before, and you've rode in Australia and the Kentucky Derby. Have you any plans for yourself in the future? Like I know some of the lads head out to Dubai in the winter or Australia. Be something that you'd like to maybe do in future?
Yeah, well, I was planning to go back to Australia again this year, but obviously with coronavirus, I couldn't. I was planning to go back to David Hayes's place again. And my link up with Amo has been massive. And it'll put me for the foreseeable future, as we stand, in a position where I will be riding, the best there is around. He spends money, and he has the finest bunch of horses you'd see, well-bred horses, and I suppose it all depends on where they'll go about. Obviously going back out to the British Cup this year, it was we had a chance and we run well. Probably ground went against us towards the end. We thought it'd turn up with a bit of a cut in the ground, and it didn't. It was a bit on the quick side for him. Still weren't beaten too far by the European horses. So you could say on a slower surface, you could see him getting in the mix with them. But we know what we have to go back there with, and they'll come. I'd say when we have the right maybe handicappers or the right horses for Dubai to hit for Dubai and Australia. You never know that. You never know. That Prince Alex, he's won 5 in the bounce and he's progressed really well. Hasn't reached 2 miles yet, and just looks like if he can continue the way he's going and improve the way he's going, you never know. He could end up in something like an Ebor, and then if he's good enough from that, hit for Melbourne. But that's a long way away, and that's a long shot, but you never know.
Yeah. And just finally for me, is there anything this week that you're looking forward to? Obviously putting you on the spot or giving anything away.
I like the horse in Lingfield, the Hulk. He won first time for me. He was very game, did everything right. I should see no reason why he shouldn't go and put 2 on the bounce, win his novice, and then see he's done everything right. George Boys are in super form, and obviously, suppose whatever I have for Dave Lucknan next week, his horses are in unbelievable form out here at the minute, and his team do amazing stuff, and they'll have a chance wherever they're in.
Yeah, you had a front running ride today for David Loughnane at Lingfield as well. Was that another impressive one?
Yeah. The yard's in super order, and Dave's been very good to me, especially this winter. Even when I went home for a couple of weeks and came back, he had me back on board again. So yeah, things are looking up.
Good.
For sure.
Well, happy days and best of luck anyway. Ryan, do you have anything?
Thank you.
Yeah, well, you've pretty much covered everything that I was really going to cover. I suppose, what is your most memorable moment in the saddle?
I would have to say, I would have to have said the Celebration Mile on Duke of Hazard Group 2. I don't I don't know, was it the winning of it or what? But it could have been the build up. I hadn't ridden a winner in about 3 weeks, and just things weren't going right. For some reason or another, we were in the height of, we were in August, and I just couldn't, like the busiest month, and or July, and I couldn't. It just wasn't right. Whatever, I just been knocking on the door for the past 3 weeks and never got one in. And then to get booked for Group 2 on your first ride out of your first year out of your claim, and the likes of Harry Bentley, Group 1 winning rider, Adam Kirby, they're all sitting in the canteen looking at you, going out to ride this, and to then go and win it. After that was just something else.
Yeah, put your stamp in the game. I suppose, is there any horse in particular that you're very excited to ride this year?
Yeah, I think Baradar. I don't know. There's just something about him. He run the super race in the Racing Post Trophy, and just maybe just was a small bit weak to finish out that mile behind Maxwilly, but still a furlong and a half down, I was the only one sitting duck and absolutely cantering. And even when I gave him a kick in the belly, I went too clear of them. And the ground just caught a hold of him, really. I think he's in a great yard in Roger Varian's, and he looks the real deal. His pedigree will suggest he's going to be the real deal. I could list off a load more, like Lullaby Moon. She won the Red Car Trophy. Then she went to France. She won over 5. She won a maiden and a novice over 5. Then went to Red Car and won a listed race. And then she went out to France just before America and won a Group 3 over 7 furlongs and looked very, very impressive doing it. Didn't get out till the half furlong pole. And she's progressing so quickly and so very well. I think looking at her France run as a 2-year-old, I think she could get the mile. And look, the Guineas trials will tell us a lot on where we stand with horses. And she for a horse on the improve, her Baradar, Devawala, Prince Alex, they're really coming to the fore now. And you'd be hoping for a big year from all 4 of them.
Yeah, so they're ones to keep an eye out on anyway. I suppose, have you set yourself any personal goals to achieve this year?
Yeah, I have set myself one goal, and it's only purely because I'm not in Australia and I'm back for the full season. And whether I have to dart away from Australia in November, December, I'm not sure. But because I started off the season, the second week in January, I thought, right, I have to give this 100 winner mark a right crack, and that'll be the main objective, as well as trying to ride some big winners. Hopefully, please God, that Group 1 winner just falls into place this year. But if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. But be definitely bigging out to get to the 100 winner mark for the year.
Yeah, for sure. And finally, for me, I suppose, if you weren't a jockey, what would you be?
I always said something like a woodwork teacher or a carpenter. I always liked using my hands. I was good at maths and drawings and putting things together in woodwork, but I was never, the language side of things wasn't my strongest thing.
Yep, that's it for me. Shane, back to you.
Yeah, well, sure, like that's basically it. Look, thanks very much for tuning in again there this week. Thanks to my 2 co-hosts there, Dean Hegarty and Ryan Sharkey from Racing Records. Please make sure to go over and check out their social medias. I'm sure Ryan will leave a link in the description below. Thanks again to Rossa. Rossa, it's been great to talk to you. Like, listening to you talk just about the passion and the drive you have, like it's second to none. I want to wish you the very best of luck for the future.
Cheers, lads. Thank you.
Yeah, all the best, Rossa.
Awesome.
Thank you.